Everybody, welcome back to yet another episode of the Man Knows Hip Hop podcast. Episode what, 17?
17.
Wow, shit. So without further ado, you know me, your boy Slack, and my co-host extraordinaire on the side over there.
E Major, welcome once again, Man Knows Hip Hop, the podcast that celebrates and knows hip hop. What you saying, Slack? You good?
All good, brother. All good, man. Striving and surviving. You know how it goes. Yeah. Again, another funny week in the hip hop world.
As always, man.
As always. And this week, man, we thought we'd just have a little bit of fun with it, and we're gonna look this week at producers who rap. So this came from my guy, Two Drinks, who suggested this topic, man. So shout out to you, my brother. And I know he's going to agree with pretty much all of my picks already. So so what? You wanna roll in there, bro? You wanna tackle this?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Let's do it, man. So yeah, shout out to Two Drinks, as you said, man. So what we're looking at, just to clarify a few little bits. So obviously we're looking at producers who rap, you know what I'm saying? But as we discussed, it has to be people that, you know, people predominantly look at as producers, you know what I'm saying? Not just an MC who's made a beat, but people who predominantly will be looked at as producers, but they're good rappers as well. Yeah, not just a producer that can rap every now and then, but they're actually good MCs as well. So and it's interesting because I don't know if everyone's watching the Genius, the Kanye Netflix special that's going on.
I ain't seen a bit of that shit yet.
And you seen it, bro? It's interesting, man. It's a good watch, man.
I'm sure it is, man. But I got to prepare myself mentally to deal with anything with that dude, man. And I don't know. I'll get to it maybe at some point if I'm bored and got shit to do. But it's not at the top of my list to watch right now.
No, I hear you. See, the thing about me, and we'll get into it later on down the line, but I've always given Kanye his props there. I mean, I hate to be one of them dudes that's always talking about old Kanye, new Kanye, but early Kanye for me, man, he's a problem, man. And this, I've always appreciated him anyway, but I think this is really going to remind people, I think, of who he was, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, this ain't the Kanye show, but the reason I mentioned Kanye is because it was interesting because one of the Rockefeller A&Rs was talking to him, spoiler alert, on the last episode, and he said, "Oh, Kanye, man, it was Big Face, yeah, he was talking to Kanye, and he was like, oh, this dude right here, he's the best producer who raps in the game." And Kanye got offended because he was like, "Man, best producer who raps, that's not really any props, isn't it?" So Big Face was like, I'm saying you're the best producer that raps, but he was like, there's no competition out there. There's not really any good producers who rap. And it sparked off, like, even, obviously we knew he was going to do this episode by then, but I started thinking about it even more because I guess it's something that you don't really look at and say, who's a good producer who's also good on the mic as well. So Kanye thought there's no competition, but even just preparing for the episode, there's a lot of good producers who rap. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for facts. I don't attribute Kanye as being good on the mic, if I'm being honest. I don't think he's a good rapper at all. I think he makes good, or he made good music. I don't really listen to his shit no more, if I'm being honest. But up until maybe what was that 808 shit that he did? 808 that was what, 2011 kind of time. After
I think it was 08, you know, bro. I might be wrong. I think it was like 08.
Really? That early? Wow, I checked out.
You know, I might be wrong. No, it can't be.
I swear it was around 2010, 2011, around them kind of times.
Yeah, because Twisted Dark, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy was
2010. Yeah, and I think 808s came out after that.
Yeah, bro. Sorry. Yeah.
So yeah, it must be between 20 and 2012, around whenever. But that's when so over 10 years, I haven't really given a shit about Kanye, to be honest. And before then, I liked some of his beats, but when it came to him rapping, I never thought he was a good rapper. Like the way he pronounced words and some of the stuff he said was just, I don't know, it was corny. He just never, and he don't write his own shit. So
I
couldn't really put him up against the other MCs or producers who rap. So for him to say he was the best, or other people saying he was the best, then that's their opinion. That's cool, but he was never close to me. He was a dope producer to me. But yeah, I wouldn't put on any Kanye music now personally.
No, same. So it's funny because obviously we started talking and spoke about Kanye and didn't really say that we was going to do 5 each. So I may as well run with Kanye because he was one of the 5, right? So I'm going to run with Kanye. This ain't any. I'm not saying he's my favorite, not in any specific order. We just took 5 favorites from both of us. Yeah. So yeah, I'll say number 1. Then I'd definitely put Kanye down. Reason being, I know what you're saying. Like, not writing his stuff and other people claiming to write his things and so on and so forth. I may be slow to it, or you know what I mean, behind, but I never started hearing that till years after Kanye really was bubbling. Do you know what I'm saying? I know the Consequence talk, the Rhyme Fest talk. I know there was a lot of talk about him not writing his own stuff, and I get it. But for me, when Kanye dropped that College Dropout, by that time, I loved his production anyway. I think a lot of people did. Those sped up samples, just I love his production. I love his beats that he was doing. Obviously, Jay-Z Blueprint killed that. Done a lot for the Rockefeller and many other people. We know that he done a lot. He dropped a lot of heat, a lot of good production. So he was already someone who I saw as a dope producer. He was already someone I thought was a really good producer. He's in my top 10 of all time producers for favorites. He's not someone that I look at and think of, like you said. When I think of Kanye West, I don't think of post 2010, 11. I don't really think about that Kanye West, even though we still drop some all right stuff here and there. That's not the Kanye West I really refer to. I mean early Kanye. But when College Dropout dropped, I thought it was incredible. Shout out to Nick as well on the timeline. We talked quite a bit as well about College Dropout, because I know he's one man who will turn around and say, he felt that the quality of his rapping wasn't good in College Dropout, and I've heard a few people say that. Definitely, you see from the album 2, 3 onwards, his rapping is better. But I felt the content of College Dropout so refreshing. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like how the hip hop world sees Little Brother. You know what I'm saying? Just the refreshing, the content, sort of breathe life back into hip hop with the content as well. I just felt what we was talking about. I still think All Falls Down is a masterpiece. So when you watch the documentary, if you do, and you see the air he's getting when he's showing people that song, it blows my mind, because the first time I heard it, I was like, man, this is insane. Through the Wire, I think, is incredible. All the singles of College Dropout that he dropped, I thought were brilliant, man. But yeah, the content in songs like All Falls Down and even Jesus Walks, man, just the stuff he's talking about. I just thought he was an incredible MC. And when I say that, it's not really his quality of rapping, but the content for me that I think Kanye gave us. I really enjoyed.
He don't write that content though.
Yeah. Okay.
So who are you propsing then? If you don't think that he's a great rapper, but you like his content that he don't write, then how does he get props for that?
See, for me, the only reason why I still see it as that, because I feel like when did you start hearing that he never wrote that stuff?
Straight away.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know what I missed or didn't hear, but I never heard that till after. What I was hearing was just Kanye. And I'm thinking, I like this content. I don't know what it was or what.
Even if you look at the liner notes, like there's like 30 people.
There's other people's name, but
30 people per Kanye song. So I'm like, who did what then? I don't know. Yeah. Like if I read I don't know, a DJ Premier song, it says produced by DJ Premier, C Martin. So a Gangstar song will be C Martin and K Elam, which was, you know what I mean, Primo and Guru. There ain't 35 people on a DJ Premier beat, or there ain't 35 people writing a Gangstar song.
Do you know how I saw it though?
Go on.
No, you're right, but you know how I saw it. You know, like it was taught when obviously the Super Bowl and Dre done Still Dre, and everyone's like, reminding everyone that Jay-Z wrote it, and someone said, anyone who's into hip hop knew Jay-Z wrote that from the moment.
Yeah, straight.
You're right, he did. And the reason we knew Like, it's because straight away you looked at the back, it would say S. Carter. We knew it was Jay-Z wrote it. For me, I felt like with Kanye, and this is once again my opinion, you know, like how you look at a Kevin Hart, sort of his shows, they're not his jokes. Like, he has a group of people that contribute, do you see what I'm saying, to the comedy, like a lot of people do. It's a team, innit? So I always saw it as, okay, because Kanye has so many names listed, written by blah 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 blah, I just thought they were literally like contributions, and he was like bringing his people in and saying, okay, well, even if it was a bar, because you know what it's like when in the back of the day when you used to rap, everyone's tried their hand at it at some point, and you maybe have bars, and then someone will be like, oh, that goes, or that will sound good, or this is a good little bar. And I saw it like that, like maybe it was just people who had contributed overall, because I felt like he wasn't that strong of a rapper. Obviously understanding now that's what he wanted to do first, but I felt like because he wasn't that strong of a rapper, I always saw it as maybe he needed a little assistance in certain areas. But you know, it's one of those things that will go down with time, I guess, and the story of time. But I felt like I had to list him because of his music. Do you know what I'm saying? And what he gave us as an artist. You see what I'm saying? If that makes any sense. But I do hear you, though. I know what you're saying. If you can't, it's like an athlete winning medals and then finding out they're on
peds.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? You take the medals
exactly.
away.
Like when people say, Manny Pacquiao's going, he's knocking out all these dudes. I'm like, how is a dude going from this weight, like featherweight or whatever he was, like tiny little dude, and you're going all the way up to knocking out welters? And then he weren't knocking anyone out for like 9 years or something crazy. And I'm like, you could see, you can see this guy was juicing. Like, it's anyone's eyes can see this guy's juicing. And I kind of feel the same with Kanye. Like, he's juicing. Like, if you're using like Dre, like I love the way Dre delivers his raps. Like, I know he's never written his raps. He's never claimed to write his raps. Like, he's never said I'm a rapper. He's always said I'm a producer. So when he raps, I'm always like, rah. Like, if Dre did rap, you know what I mean? He's got a rap on the Truth Hurts album, a song called Hollywood. And his verse on there is hard as fuck. Like, his verse is sick. And if I go back through even on the Obi Trice album, where he's got that verse
on the diss track,
shit hits the fan.
That's it.
That verse is hard. Like, Dre's got a ton of hard verses throughout his career.
Voice as well.
He's got the voice. He's got he delivers it proper like a rapper. Kanye doesn't deliver raps well, in my opinion. Like, I'm not discrediting the guy completely. As I said, I liked some of his. Enjoyed his raps, and I remember one time one of my friends who's a producer, I ain't gonna mention no names, but he's a well-known producer, and I was like, bro, have you heard these Kanye beat? He's like, bro, have you heard that man's drums? And I was like, nah. He said, sit down and listen to the drums. And we sat down and we was listening to College Dropout, and I was like, fuck, these drums are pretty weak. He was like, exactly. It's like, Kanye's drums are terrible. Like, a real producer, these drums will be much cleaner. And when you actually listen to it, when I listen to it now, that's all I can hear now. I can't hear it any different now when I listen to it.
See, I've heard that, and I've heard a few people mention things like that when it comes to production. But you know how I've always seen it, and this is just me being just me, innit? Bro, I can't get technical like that. If I like the beat, I like
that's
the beat.
Not even technical,
I can't
bro.
Even.
That's not even technical. That's literally like, it's if someone points something out to you, and then right then you're like, shit, like how,
and then you keep hearing it, yeah.
How did I miss that? But when I hear it now, I can't get past, like, the delivery of some of the raps is just not good, in my opinion, and a lot of the drum work is not good. Like, his sampling and stuff, fine, cool, but hip hop's based on sampling. I'm not gonna throw out extra points for that. I don't know. He was always good to me. Like, he's made a few songs that I really thought were really, really good, like well above average. So I'm never going to discredit the dude, even though I think he's a dickhead now. But
yeah,
I don't know. You know, if he's in your top 5, that's all good. But yeah, I couldn't. There's just too many variables for me when it comes to him. There's too much. There's just too much stuff. I'll give him his credit, like from where he came from, and people were saying, "Yo, you ain't never gonna be a rapper" and all that, and he made sure that he proved them all wrong. I rate him highly for that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
So much other stuff that he said on the record that he's contradicted himself completely in real life. Even if you listen to the Gold Digger song and listen to some of the stuff he's saying on there, and then look at what he's doing now, I can't rate that, bro. So
no, 100%. I mean, when you're comparing the art to the life, there's no doubt about that. I even said that if you listen to Gold Digger now, it's like he's talking about himself 10 years down the line. There's no doubt about that. Or the woman he's going to end up with, or have you not saying Kim's the Gold Digger? I don't know her. I'm not saying that she is. So before I get gunned down by any Kardashian fans, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is it's just funny some of the stuff he's saying. But like, I think for me it was I think it was personal impact in it, and I know that statement can be a cop out many times, but I think personal impact is a big thing. Around that time, I feel when College Dropout landed, I felt the content was refreshing for me, man. It was like how Little Brother was refreshing at that time. It just felt, this is refreshing. It was just good. And when you watch the documentary more, I'm enjoying the documentary because it's more, I'm reliving that again, that feeling I had, because I'm seeing it from the back now. And everyone was like, bro, you're not going to make it. You're not a gangster. You've never shot anyone. You've never sold any drugs. You know what I mean? And that was what it was for me. It was refreshing because it was like, here's this dude, not saying he was the only one or the first one, but here's this guy coming, big commercial person, and he's not doing none of that. I just felt it was refreshing. And I think it was, what hip hop needed. I think they needed someone like that. But I do understand exactly what you're saying about if he's not writing it, can we really give him the props? But going from that angle is what was delivered to me and how I picked it up. That's why I would mention him as one of my 5 favorites this evening. But but yeah, I get you.
I hear that, and yeah, it was refreshing because when he came out, that was when hip hop was far in the toilet with the jiggy raps and Laffy Taffy and Soldier Boy and all these fucking idiots that were just cockroaches just running around. I remember like that time hip hop was not in a good place, man. A lot of this minstrel show music was coming out. These plink plonk beats, it was just horrible, man. So yeah, it definitely was a fresh air at the time. I won't dispute that at all. It was, because there was so much effery happening at the time. But we've dedicated way too much time to that.
I know.
Just look at him like, what the fuck? Like, we've dedicated way too much time to that, brother. So
it, man. But no.
Yeah, good luck, man. I hope you get your wife back or whatever. So anyway.
Yeah. Moving swiftly on.
My pick, first of all, is going to be Eric's sermon from EPMD. For many reasons. First reason is because that man is underrated for many reasons. Because he can do more than just bangers, hip hop bangers. He can do more than produce classic albums. He could do more than, give us new artists. Like, Dre gets credit for bringing out Snoop, you know what I mean? Like, Eric don't get no props for bringing out a Redman. You know what I mean? Keith Murray, Hit Squad. Like, he don't get those kind of props. But he did that. You know what I mean? The first 4 EPMD albums, are we saying that they're not 4 classics? Because they are.
I'd say they are.
Like, Strictly Business, bro. Like, I threw that album the other day and I was just like, this album is still brilliant. And I know, like, the age that they were in, where they were just sampling everything, like, that album will be able to happen now, just simply because of the amount of samples and stuff that was on it, and it would have cost a hell of a lot more money to make. But the way that they used those, or that Eric was using those samples, like, I know PMD had a hand in producing as well, but it's it's a joint effort. But the way that those samples were used, man, back then, like, we're talking like 30 plus years, you know what I mean? And that album still sounds dope today.
It does.
And some of Eric's versus I think is underrated. Like because he was kind of the more simple rapper out of Keith Murray and Redman. He was more, you know, I'm just going to deliver these bars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's not going to be mad complex with it or animated or whatever. But he was always consistent. You knew what you was going to get from the Eric Sermon verse. And every now and again he'll drop a line. I'm like, yeah, that's
yeah,
it.
yeah.
He said something about I wrote this laying on the I'm so hardcore or something. I wrote this laying down in the basement or something like that. I was like, yeah, that's hard. So he's got a couple lines here and there, but I think more his ability to make beats is just underrated. Like when he did KIM, bro, that classical music, and then he just comes in with the hardest bass line, bro. Like some of his even when people found out that he did 4 3 2 1, again, like people didn't read the liner notes. I read everything.
We knew,
I read everything. When people were like, oh, I thought Puff did that beat, or I thought someone else did that. What? That's an Eric Sermon beat, man.
Definitely, man.
And that beat was hard as hell. Still is.
Still.
Unskippable. The albums he did for Redman, you know what I mean? What the album, Muddy Waters, Enigma, his own albums, that shit he did with Marvin Gaye.
Yeah.
He's got too much, man. His catalog's and the R&B shit that he did. Dave Hollister, Aaron Hall, all these other dudes that he was producing for, the remixes he did, Illegal that he worked with, and big bangers for Illegal, and Boss, the songs he did for Boss.
Yeah.
Bro, come
Good
on.
shout, bro.
Come on, man. This guy has just he's a heavyweight. Heavyweight. And when I got to meet him, man, it's almost like I couldn't, because you don't want to be like, oh, what about when you did this and when you did that? And I wasn't doing none of that shit. But I was just like, bro, like you killed it. You killed everything, man. You clocked the game. And he was just like, yeah, no, thank you, bro. Like I appreciate that. But mad humble, like nice dude in person. He was trying to crack on to one of the women in the crowd. He was proper on her case.
Right.
He was riding around like trying to. But yeah, man, just dope all around, man. And to meet him and him not be a dickhead was a nice bonus. You know what I mean? Because sometimes they say don't meet your heroes or whatever, but he's always been underrated to me. Like he's always been someone I wanted to win just because he was so good, so consistent. He owned the 90s, man.
I was just thinking that, bro. Thinking about
throughout the whole from 88, I think or 87. Is when Strictly Business dropped. Yeah,
88, wasn't it? 88, yeah.
88, I think. Yeah, 87, 88. It was late 80s anyway. So from then all the way up to 99, 2000, you can count his misses on one hand. Like he was on everything, and he turned down a few things. Like I've heard him in interviews saying, I had a chance to work with this MC, but I was too busy. I could have worked with this dude. I could have did this. So he could have done even more than what he's done. And if you go through the man's catalog, you're like, oh, fuck, like he's done a lot of shit.
No, agreed, man. Agreed.
Yeah, man. I just think the only time I think people actually acknowledge people like him is when they're not here, and that shit is sad to me.
Definitely.
Like if you know what I mean, touch wood. But if anything happened to Eric, people will be, he was great, he was this, but recognize that shit now because he is that great. You know what I mean? He really is. So
couldn't agree more.
Eric Sermon is my top pick, man. Well, not my top pick, but
no, I know what I mean. In your 5 of your favorites,
yeah.
Now I couldn't agree more. There's not really anything to add on to that. Eric Sermon, man. I know it's going to sound like I'm saying this a lot tonight, but if anyone wants me to put up my list, I can put it up to prove I'm not just guessing. But he is in my top 10 producers. Of my top 10 favorite producers of all time, Eric Sermon. The thing I want to just give him a shout for as well is that he almost done a Dre. Like everyone looks at Dre as this great, amazing producer, which he is. You get me? But I mean, you look at Dre and you think about his Death Row time, and then you think, right, Death Row crumbled or whatever, and he went on and done his Aftermath and done like he repackaged his whole thing and just done something new. Like Eric Sermon don't get enough credit for that, because when you look at like EPMD, EPMD, as you said, the EPMD movement was a massive movement.
Massive.
You're not going to get much hip hop heads that will not include EPMD in the greatest duos or hip hop groups of all time. Facts. EPMD are incredible. Do you know what I'm saying?
EPMD influenced so much, bro. Like so much.
That's what I'm saying. The amount of stuff that still gets sampled from them and everything like that. But then, as I was saying with the Dre thing, so you're looking at EPMD. Obviously, then they went on and done Hit Squad. You know what I'm saying, with the crew that we spoke about last week's episode. We all know about the PMD and Sermon breakdown. But then he goes and does Def Squad. And then gives us Redman, Keith Murray.
Exactly.
Do you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, he deserves his flowers, man. Eric Sermon, definitely good shout. And like you said, good on the mic as well, man. So, good man. Shout. One for me, my second one, I'm going to have to go with RZA, man. Definitely RZA. My second favorite hip-hop producer of all time. We all know RZA's a beast on the boards. What he's done for Wu-Tang, as we always mention, man, I'm not going to dedicate too much time but it's just easy to fall down a rabbit hole of Wu praise for me, man. But what he's done, the albums for the crew, the solo albums. I know it's not just him as well. There's other people that add to it as well. So I'm not just giving him all the credit, but we know Riz is the main guy for the production. And for me, I think you can tell when Riz is not behind the boards on their productions, because I think it does dip. There is something about him that he knows what the members need. Do you know what I mean?
All right, let me ask you this question then. Now you said that, when you heard Brooklyn Zoo for the first time, don't tell me you didn't think that was a RZA beat.
No, I did. Definitely did.
It weren't until a little bit later I was like, oh shit, that was a RZA. That sounded like a RZA beat to me.
No, it sounds exactly like something he would do. There's a few beats that I thought,
exactly,
that I thought that's RZA. Do you know what I mean? But I put that down to his influence, because the people who would have been making any other beats on new projects or what have you, they would have been around when RZA was making beats. Do you know what I'm saying? They would have been seeing what he's doing, and I think they was almost doing their best. No disrespect to them, but their best RZA impersonation. Do you know what I mean?
Imitation.
You look at the
you got what, Mathematics, Fourth Disciple, True Master.
A lot of them they have their sound, but I mean, you think of what's the track of Liquid Swords, man? Incredible, man. Fourth Chamber. I thought that was a RZA beat. It's not RZA beat, is it?
No.
But it's a RZA beat if you hear it. Do you know what I'm saying? But the same with the DJ Muggs and Jizza, when you listen to that.
I didn't like that album for that reason.
See, I enjoyed it because it
sounded like Muggs was trying to mug off RZA. It sounded like I don't know, man. I was like, Muggs, you've got enough of a storied history with Cypress Hill that you don't need to be doing this, bro. You don't need to be trying to emulate RZA, because those beats sounded too much like he was trying to copy what RZA was doing, man. I can't listen to the album. I can't.
If you just listen to that, you'd think it was a Wu drop. And I remember
exactly.
Shout to Black Spot. He writes for Double XL. If anyone remembers Black Spot, we were speaking one time and we was talking about just comparing UK rap and American rap. And he was just saying to me, man, he was like, listen, American listeners, obviously it's now, this was like 15 years ago, it was different, you know what I mean? He was like, American listeners want to hear what's going on in the UK. They don't want to hear American impersonators. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think that's another reason why UK hip hop is so good now and so received now, because it's something different. People want to hear what's going on. You know what I mean? On our side of the world, they don't want to hear. I don't know, man.
A lot of Americans still don't want to hear people rapping in a British accent.
No, of course. And you know what? If you don't like it, no problem. But
you can't win though, because if they rap in an American accent, they're like, you're rapping in an American accent. Yeah, that's my point. If they rap in an English accent, they're like, they sound crazy. They sound stupid. It's like, you can't win.
No,
but at least I'm happy that they're not rapping in an American accent.
Give me that. Anymore. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because that sounded terrible, man.
If they don't want to hear it because they don't like that, that's fine. More power to them. But if they are going to tune in, shout out to Yints. I know he's big on UK rap and many other American people that we converse with. If they're going to be listening to UK rap, they want to hear
the authentic
something
stuff.
Different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's the only thing about that Jizza Muggs album is because it's like, imagine hearing Jizza over like typical Muggs beats. It would have been something different. It would have been exciting.
I think that could have slapped, man.
That's what I'm saying. It would have been good.
I think Jizza over some Cypress Hill type beats. I think that would have gone fucking bananas.
Imagine how mad that would have sounded. So I think he felt like he had to do, as you said, RZA style. But it just shows you how influential RZA is. You know what I'm saying? So we all know how he is behind the boards. But I wanted to mention RZA because RZA can spit. Like, I know sometimes I heard a lot of people that's like, oh, it's he crams too much words in, or his delivery, or whatever, man. I've never ever gone through a stage where I thought RZA can't rap. Like, I think RZA can rap. I think he's got good verses. Sometimes it's flow. Sometimes he's like a bit of a kid in a playground when you have to just pull them aside and say, yo, slow down. Stop getting so excited. You know what I mean? I get that. But I think RZA can rap, man. I think he's a good MC. I think he's got content. And yeah, I'll definitely mention him as a predominant producer who I would look at as a dope rapper as well. You know what I mean?
Fair.
Definitely.
His content when he raps up, I don't mind his content. I think a lot of his content is good. And I think it took people a while to catch on to some of the shit that he was saying. Because he even said it himself. He was like, some of those jewels I dropped on those albums back in the day, like, you lot are only just going to catch up to them now.
Exactly.
So I rate him for that, but his delivery was always very difficult for me. I don't know. I think it's his voice, the way he pronounces certain words. I don't know. I just didn't he wasn't one of my favorites, put it that way. I didn't dislike him rapping, but he wouldn't be one of the first I'd go to from the Woo to listen to for rapping. Yeah. But yeah, you can't discredit the dude. You know what I mean? He's up until '97 anyway. You can't.
Yeah. I mean,
you can't discredit what the man did for 5 years straight. I don't think there's been a 5-year run like it, producer wise in hip hop. So yeah, can't really discredit what the man's done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
All right. My next one, I'm gonna go for DJ Quick.
Good shout.
And I think I'm gonna mention Quick because he don't get mentioned enough. Number one, he's got stellar albums under his belt, and he is a real producer. As in, he plays instruments, he's an arranger, he's a mixer, he's an engineer. He does it all. Doesn't get any props. He did a fire beat on Tupac's album, All Eyes on Me.
Hearts of Men.
That shoot is fire.
Definitely, man.
But I noticed back then, like, he wasn't listed as DJ Quick on that beat. He used his actual name.
Okay.
Yeah. Because when I was reading through it, I was like, I wonder why he never put it down as DJ Quick. Because I know he was kind of aligned to Death Row at some point, because he was on the Murder Case soundtrack when he was dissing MC8 on that tune, Dollars and Cents and stuff. But yeah, I mean, the Safe and Sound album, the Rhythmalism album, just bangers, knockers, really like G-Funk influenced. And his rapping is a good level as well. Like, he's got some nice as well. Like, he's got a really good voice for it. His content was never kind of overtly outrageous. He used to talk a lot about, the pussy and stuff like that, more than he's about shooting you in the face.
Yeah.
But I always just liked his music, man. It always just seemed very authentic, as in he's really studied this shit. You know what I mean? He's really honed his craft as a producer and as a rapper, because he improved pretty much album by album. And he did an album with Problem called Rosecrans.
I'm glad you mentioned that, bro. That's so sick.
That is such a dope album, man. I love, because initially it came out as an EP, right? It was like 6 or 7 tracks, whatever. And then they did the album, and I was like, oh, this is really nice. Like, he really showed that he's still making fire beats, and so everything about that was really good. And yeah, throughout his long discography, he's got pure, like, just bangers all throughout it. And I just don't think I don't know why. I don't know the reason why he doesn't get
mentioned
spoken about as much. Yeah. because he came up in an era where the West Coast was booming. Literally, like, you know what I mean? The whole Death Row and the whole West Coast, where they were on top, and he was there. He was around. His albums were good.
Yeah, you're
he
right.
Had the whole, I don't know. I don't know why he. I mean, he's had a great career, but he's not. I think he said himself recently. He was like, "I produced this. I don't get props for this. I don't get props for that." And I think I was agreeing with everything he said, because I was like, "Yeah, you're right. You should definitely be spoken about." But he's not. There's others I'd put in front of him, but I think he needs to be mentioned because, again, he is that good. He's very consistent, and he just makes good music. And the fact that he's a real producer, plays instruments and all of that kind of shit, that's not like props enough, because that's real talent.
Yeah, definitely, man.
So yeah, man, I got to put Quick on the list.
That's a good shout, man. Good shout. You're right, man. He's criminally underrated, man. He's not mentioned a lot.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah, like you said, yeah, because Quick's the name. That would have been like, ooh, it's got to be
Quick
91, 92.
What, Safe and Sound was what, 95, I think?
Yeah.
So you've got Quick is the name. That must have been what, 91?
Yeah, I'm sure it's 91, 92. Got to be
something
91.
like that.
So that's what I mean.
He's got, and that was a dope album.
Definitely, man.
Like I've never put on I think there's only one album that he did, Book of David, I think it was, that I played, and I was like, I'm not really feeling this. But then he came right back after that with whatever the album was after that, and that was a banger. Then he did Rosecrans, and I was like, okay, cool. So he hasn't lost it. But out of his whole discography, there's maybe one album where I'm just like, I'm not sure about that one. But the rest, really good. So he stays. You know, when one of them MCs, producers that just will put out like a 7 out of 10 every time.
Yeah,
he's one of them dudes.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, he's just consistent, but he's just not ain't got the pizzazz to get the attention all the time. Maybe it is a timing thing, because think about it. The next year or two, it was Chronic and everything. You know what I mean? So maybe if he came out around that time, it might have been a. Because when you think about it, I was going to say, because when you think about it, though, he should really get more props, because his sound, even on Quick's the Name, we always credit the G-Funk sound to Chronic, but he had that whole G-Funk sound down from his
Above the Law had it as well. So you know, it wasn't something like Dre.
Interesting.
That Dre made. It was something like Dre popularized. Made for popular. Sure, but, but it wasn't him that G-Funk sound was there from late 80s. Even if you listen to Compton's Most Wanted, a lot of their stuff is very G-Funk sounding too.
Interesting. Yeah, no, that's a good shout, man. DJ Quick, man. Definitely.
Yeah, man.
Good shout. All right, so I'm going to go with number 3. Might be obvious, but I've got to throw Havoc in there, man.
100%.
Yeah, man. Havoc. Beast on the boards. We know that. I feel like I should stop saying my favorite all the time, but it genuinely is the truth. But he's in my top 5 of all time. Number 3 for me. Havoc, just the catalogue for production speaks for itself. You know what I mean? The projects he's done with Mobb Deep, the stuff he's done for other people. You can't take anything away from him. His projects for like whatever he's dropped for Game, Nas, Foxy, CNN, just the stuff he's done. We know Havoc's animal on the boards, man. But I wanted to mention him because he's actually he was a rapper first. You know what I'm saying? As most of us know, he was the one helping Prodigy to write bars. You know
That's crazy, man. When you think about it.
Most people, well, I shouldn't say most, but a lot of people have Prodigy in their, you know what I mean, their top lists, you know what I'm saying? So here, and Havoc wouldn't be, but here's Havoc, who's the one that's showing Prodigy how to write, you know what I'm saying? He was the rapper of the crew, so to speak. So yeah, but I've never thought Havoc couldn't rap, man. I'm going to say something, and it's going to sound like I'm just trying to like do shock and awe, but at one stage, early stage, I actually preferred Havoc's rapping over Prodigy's. Do you know what I'm saying?
I've heard people say that before.
Definitely, yeah. From I'm not going to act like these guys that know everything. I don't. I never heard Juvenile Hell till after Infamous. Right. You know what I'm saying? So the first thing I heard from Mobb Deep was Infamous. You know what I'm saying? Shook Ones was the first thing I heard. So obviously Prodigy, just from the way he kicked it off, was insane. When I listened to that album, though, obviously Prodigy's dope. We know that, but it was just something I liked about Havoc. He just felt like more of the natural rapper, so to speak. Like Prodigy kind of made some stuff rhyme sometimes, or it didn't rhyme, or you just, but Havoc just felt like you're just straight spitter. And I always thought Havoc was a dope rapper. I love the tracks he's on his own, the Try for Life and stuff like that. He's a good storyteller. You know what I'm saying? I think he's got a sick voice. You know what I mean? His energy, he's excited on the mic. So yeah, I would definitely put Havoc in my favorite producers on the mic list. And he don't get mentioned enough for his rapping. So it was good when he dropped his solo projects, you know what I mean, 13 and Alchemist, Silent Partner, and other things he was doing, because it was good just to hear him rapping. I know he had a lot of features on the albums, but a lot of the tracks he didn't even produce, you know what I'm saying? So he would just concentrate and focus on the rapping. And it was good. I think he's a dope rapper, man. So yeah, definitely have it, man.
Yeah, good shout, man. Again, another. I don't know if he's underrated, because I think people that know Mobb Deep and know, you know what I mean, how influential he was on that whole run throughout the 90s. And then what I really like about Havoc is his sound changed. If you listen to the Infamous, it doesn't sound nothing like Hell on Earth.
Nah.
Hell on Earth doesn't sound anything like
Murder Music.
Murder Music don't sound nothing like America's Nightmare. Do you know what I mean? So through every album, it's almost like he's gone in with like an idea in mind about how he wants that album to sound. And he's pulled it off like he hasn't made a career out of just like one style of making beats. He's done so many different types. Like Hell on Earth is dark. Like the album sounds like it is in hell. Like it's dark, it's grimy, it's horrible, it's dusty, it's not nice, but it's brilliant. Infamous is dark, but not as dark as Hell on Earth.
It's definitely brighter, yeah.
But I think a lot of that has maybe to do with Q-Tip as well, putting his touches on there. But then you listen to Murder Music, and that is brighter than Hell on Earth. So then is it kind of, it's just where artists are at that time, I think. Because if you listen to what the album that you listen to, There Is a Dark Side, they're two like completely, like one is very jokey, jovial, how to roll a blunt and all this, and then you've got There Is a Dark Side, and you've got Neurotic and all this going on. So maybe a lot of it is just to do with where they are, you know, personally at that point in time and stuff. But what I really is respected about Havoc is that he has a sound that he wants to make for each album, and he does it so well every time. So yeah,
you're right, man.
I've got a lot of time for Havoc as well, man.
Just before you go into your pick really quickly, like you said, and even Prodigy was saying that he didn't have nothing to do with naming the albums or naming the songs or anything like that.
Yeah,
it was all Havoc's mind behind it all. So his influence is mad. And just want to shout out the run he's on now as well. Do you know what I'm saying? That Dark Low, Extreme Measures,
Styles P, Dark Low.
Styles P, he's doing his thing, the Flea Lord. So he's still here in 2021, 22.
It's good to see him back making music, man. Because I know when Prodigy died, like he, you know what I mean, we might not have heard music from him again, because, you know what I mean, that was his boy from a kid, like literally a kid.
Definitely.
And to lose him the way that we did, that must have taken Havoc a lot of time to digest. So I wasn't sure that he would ever like come back and make music again. So it's really dope to see that he is.
Because he was trying to start doing more DJing, you know. I don't know if you went to that show in XOYO.
I was meant to go to it, yeah,
bro. Yeah,
I can't remember what happened, but me and my guy was supposed to go to that, but
it weren't good, man.
Something happened, but we didn't. But yeah,
it weren't good, man. Like,
I heard it wasn't good.
It was meant to be a DJ show. I thought he was going to be doing a set like him rapping and doing Mobb Deep stuff, but then I found out it was like a DJ set. I'm like, okay, cool, still Havoc, innit? Bro, we was there for ages. Man ain't even put on nothing from Infamous yet, nothing from Hell on Earth yet.
I heard all about that show, man.
Yeah, it weren't the best. But anyway, props to Havoc, man.
Props to Havoc, man. My next pick, I'm going to go for Large Professor.
Brilliant shout.
And because his influence is crazy, and to hear like the amount of producers that shout him out and like propped him, you know what I mean? Like he's very respected, Large Pro. And when I listen to Breaking Atoms, I'm still like, how is the album so good? Like to this day, like it's so good. And if there was no Large Pro, we might not have Nas.
Exactly.
So, and another thing is that album he dropped that was delayed for a very, very long time, the LP.
Yeah.
That's as close to a 5 mic album. Every song just well produced. The raps are just to the point, clear, no messing about. He can actually rap. He's not a part-time rapper, but he sounds good when he's got like a commanding voice.
Yeah, definitely.
And I like the simplicity of his raps as well. Like not everything has to be Pharoah Monch complex. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just like the way he delivers his raps as well. So just for his influence on Tribe as well, on Q-Tip. Like Q-Tip pays homage to him many times. And I think he had a big say in the sound of the Midnight Marauders album as well, which is one of the dopest albums that's ever been made in hip hop.
Yeah, I heard the same.
So, like when you look at Illmatic, Midnight Marauders, Breaking Atoms, the LP, like he's done some amazing shit, man.
Definitely, man. I agree.
He's done some really incredible stuff, and I can see why he's so respected, man. Because producers are like, if I don't know my way around this, Large Professor will. You know what I mean? And that's how he got his name. Like he's a professor in this shit. Like he knows his way around the MPC, and DJ Premier shouts him out a hell of a lot as well. Like he talks about how brilliant he is so many times. And again, he's just one of these that is just consistent, has always just done his thing, but he just doesn't get mentioned when people are talking about producers because maybe I don't know, maybe because he just goes under the radar. He's not kind of, you know, up in people's faces and shit. He just goes about his business. But when you think about the stuff he's actually done and contributed,
right? Exactly.
I mean, there's no real art, there's no real response for that. You know what I mean? It's just that's a storied catalog that man's got and influence. Yeah, man. So he has to be on there for me.
Nah, brilliant shout, man. Fully agree. Last Pro, man, definitely. Only because we've mentioned them a couple of times, I'm just going to throw out my last two together. And that was Eric Sermon as well. I had him down in my 5, but I'm not going to go through that. We've spoken about Eric Sermon. So my 5th one was Q-Tip. I know we've briefly mentioned him as well, but I definitely want to mention Q-Tip. Really, he's probably the ultimate pick for what we're talking about because he is someone that you would look at as an MC. You're going to look at him and say, okay, you know what? We all know Q-Tip lyrically, do you know what I'm saying? Tribe, the classics under their belt, and the production behind that. To go to
let me ask you this though. When you were listening to Tribe, you know, back in the day, did you think Q-Tip did all those beats?
No.
See, I didn't either.
No. That's something that's came to light way after, and I was thinking, right, how come? Because
I thought it was Shaheed Muhammad was probably the producer guy because everything said produced by a Tribe Called Quest.
Right, exactly. That's what
there was no, you know what I mean, Q-Tip, but it wasn't until he did he started branching out with Dilla. And he did like some stuff with Janet Jackson and stuff. And then I was like, oh shit! Like, and when I heard that he had contributed so much to the Infamous album, so because I think the Velvet Rope was maybe 97. So when he did the Infamous, that's when I was like, oh shit! So Tip is he's like producer. So I don't know if I was late or whatever, but I don't know how well known it was in hip hop circles that he was, you know, the guy. Because I was just like, what's Shaheed doing apart from being a DJ? Maybe he's the dude making these beats, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when I found out that it was mostly Tip, I was like, oh shit! Like that was a bit of a shock to me. Yeah,
exactly. I found that way later. Same with Naughty. A lot of the time, what's they produced by Naughty by Nature. So I would just. I
always thought it was KG though, but in Naughty, I always knew
it's the KG. Same. That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
but I think that was KG. Because there's a skit on the 1993 album where there's some dude who goes, "I got this break,"
Yeah.
And then KG's like, yeah, let me play the break, and then he's like, plays back the beat that he made. So then I always knew that he was the producer.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was a bit different with Tribe because Q-Tip never really, I don't know, he never really spoke about
or anything like that.
Yeah.
And there was a documentary that dropped maybe a few years ago as well.
And he actually said, notice on all the albums, I don't big up myself. It's the family, it's the tribe. Right. It's a tribe called Quest.
Yeah.
So I don't take the credit, even though I'll be making all these beats. I don't take the credit, and I was like, oh shit, okay, that's all making sense.
So if we done this episode, I don't know, years ago, I wouldn't list him because I would see it as
Tribe Called Quest.
Yeah, exactly. but now understanding that he has to be listed. Do you know what I'm saying? Because if you're looking at the classics under his belt, and to know that he had a hand in majority of the production of it as well, that's insane. And even
some
his
of those
solo,
beats, man. Some of those beats on Low End Theory, Midnight Marauders. Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah. And even his solo albums, like they don't get much love, but his first solo album, Amplified, I thought that was decent, bro. Like it had a lot of heat on it.
I didn't like it.
It had a lot of heat on it. As a whole project, I was like, because I heard Breathe and Stop in it, and I'm like, whoa, this is insane. Like,
the beat on that's crazy. What did you think of Vibrant thing though?
It was just okay for me. It weren't.
I thought that was terrible. I didn't like that song at all. It just didn't feel like a Q-Tip song. It just
that's weird because it felt like a Tribe song. Because I can imagine Tribe.
It felt like a mad reach, man. And don't forget, they were coming off the back of Love Movement, and a lot of people were not impressed with Love Movement.
Once again, I don't think that's a bad album. But
I don't think it's bad.
It's like Beats, Rhymes, and Life. I thought that was a good album.
Beats, Rhymes, I love that album. I'm not even gonna lie, I love that.
And that was
album.
getting bursted.
But you got to remember, if you come in off Midnight Marauders, which is like as close to a 10 out of 10 album as you're gonna get in hip hop. If you drop something that's slightly below par and you introduce 2 new members to the group that no one knew about before. So you brought in JD to do the production, so the sound has changed. Then you bring in Consequence to drop his subpar veneered bullshit. Then
he was on it a lot,
and there wasn't as much Fife because Fife isn't on a few tunes on there. He wasn't even on Stressed Out until the video came out, and that was one of the biggest tunes off that album, and he wasn't on there.
Definitely bought that single,
Yeah, right. So I understand why people were not feeling that version of Tribe, because a lot of people were blaming Dilla as well. They were like, "Who's this Dilla guy in the Uma? Like, why is their sound changed? This ain't Tribe." But as I grew up, I was like, "Yeah, this album is good actually. Love Movement isn't terrible, but it's not Tribe standard if we're being honest, man. Like what they dropped before, they set the bar incredibly high, man."
Yeah,
so I think that's just probably why their stuff like Love Movement in anyone else's discography might be looked at a lot more favorably, but it's because it's Tribe.
Yeah, no, definitely.
It's like, all right, remember when Nas dropped It Was Written, right? You was there. People weren't fucking with that album, bro. They weren't.
Which I never understood, man.
They didn't like the commercial sound of that album. They were not happy. I was there. I bought it on release day.
Trust me.
I took it home and I was like, what is going on? This don't sound like what I want.
See, I loved it straight away, man. Like literally straight away, I loved it. I bought it twice.
Yeah,
I had
so many people
were
not liking it, not feeling it.
I loved it. I got it. It was different from Illmatic, you know what I'm saying? But I loved it, man. I didn't understand all the stick it was getting. It wouldn't have never got that stick in today's world.
Not today, nah. But back then, man, we were harsh. We were much more harsh than we are now. We were harsh. Crazy. Yeah. But I totally agree with both of those shouts, man.
Yeah, so then my last two. So who you got for your last favorites, and then we can throw out a couple underrated ones.
Yeah. So the Alchemist, I've got to throw him out there as well. I know that he's everywhere now. Like everyone's got an Alchemist album, and I understand why he's doing what he's doing, because he's like, I'm independent. I don't answer to literally nobody. All I do is sit here and make beats. Why am I going to sit on them?
Yeah.
Why am I going to sit on all this music? Because I watched the interview with him, and it was really dope to get an idea of how his mind works and stuff like that. So it's really good to see his process, and everything he was saying made total sense. Because he's like, you know what I mean? I've got all this stuff. Like, why am I going to keep it to not let people hear it? I'm going to let people hear it. So that's why he's got albums with flipping everyone, because he's accessible. He's like, I'm here. People know where I'm at. They can just come record.
And he's getting paid at the end of the day.
He's getting loads of shitloads of money out of it. Right, exactly. But what I like about him is he maybe not as much now. I mean, I like some of his stuff now. I loved Alfredo. I think that was brilliant, the album. I like what he did on Fetty as well. He's got a lot of projects that I like, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But what I really like about him is that he can rap. Because I never really thought of him, although he came out with the Hooligans.
Yeah, I was gonna say he started
when he was a kid. Like, he was literally a kid. Came up under DJ Muggs and Cypress Hill and all of them dudes, Soul Assassins. But when he did not even his first solo album, it wasn't even that. It was when he did Lord Steppington with Evidence. That album is crazy.
Yeah.
That album is so good.
It actually is. It's hard, man.
Oh man, I was so surprised by how good the album was. And then he did Gangrene with Oh No. That is them times there. That is peak Alchemist for me. Like, not now. The stuff he's doing now is cool, but the stuff he was doing then,
those Gangrene albums, they're some of the best produced albums in hip hop.
Bro, that Vodka and Ayahuasca. Do you know the amount of times I've played that album? That album is insane.
They're incredible albums, man. They are.
Like, I don't know what he was smoking at them kind of times. When he did Do-Rag Dynasty as well, bro, he was in a crazy zone.
Yeah, that's the Alchemist I like. I'm not really into much of late, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, his stuff now, I would say a lot of it is good, but it's not like, oh shit, like I was when I heard Vodka and Ayahuasca.
Exactly. Yeah, I haven't done that for a while.
Steppington, that I was like, oh man, this is brilliant. But I have to put him up there because I think he can really rap well when he wants to. Like, he's good. He's really good on the mic. Like underrated. And I don't really need to speak about his beats and stuff like that, because it's common knowledge how good he is. So, yeah, man, got to include him 100%.
Good shot, man.
And my last one, I had Havoc on there, but we've spoken about Havoc already. So I'm going to go with Dilla, because Dilla is another one very similar to Alchemist. When I heard him on J-Lib and stuff like that, when he was rapping and shit over his own beats, and both of them, I was like, damn, these dudes are actually like they're actually holding their own on these beats. I was quite surprised at how good they were. So yeah, Dilla's done he's done a lot of stuff that I like, that he's rapping on, and his production. When I listened to Slum Village Volume 2, and the amount of sounds he has on that one album, not many producers can replicate what he did on the album. Like, I was listening to it just the other week, and I was like, you've gone from there to there, and you've done all these different. You can do disco, you can do R&B, you can do everything, and just put all of that shit in, and it just works. And his beats had a feeling. Like, I could put on a JD instrumental album, and I could still get that fuzzy kind of warm feeling inside, that this guy really put some feeling into this music. Yeah, that not a lot of producers. I don't get that feeling with a lot of producers, but Dilla, his beats, man, just something different. Just incredibly like talented, man. And all the stuff he did, like Neo Soul, and like not many producers can do what he did for, like, let's say, the Far Side, and then go and do Tribe, and then go and do R&B like so well. Yeah, like that whole Neo Soul sound and stuff, like a lot of that was down to the shit that he was doing. Like, he was ahead of his time. Man, he was gone too soon, man. But one of the best for sure. Just off talent alone. Like, we're not talking about hits and all this bullshit, but his, like, Janet Jackson, that over over a J Dilla, like that's just timeless.
Nah, definitely, man. He put soul into his music, man. I feel the same about Ninth Wonder and Apollo Brown. I feel like their music is soulful. Like they can make their producers that can make the transition to soul and R&B very easily.
Because they've got soul. That soul. Yeah, I agree, bro. Totally agree.
Yeah, no,
yeah, man. So Dilla, man. So
good shout.
What's next, man? What's next on the list?
So before we wrap up, we're just going to throw out a couple, maybe not in our favorites list, but underrated. You know what I'm saying? Producers, MCs that don't really get mentioned. So I'll throw out one to start. I've got to go with Daz Dillinger, man.
Man. That's exactly who I was going to say.
Well, see, great minds think alike, bro. But yeah, definitely underrated, not mentioned enough. His production, we know, many times overlooked because of the camp he was in as well. Do you know what I'm saying? That's sometimes what happens when you're in a camp of stars. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you don't really get overlooked or not really mentioned enough. But he's got a lot of good production, man. Obviously, everyone always goes to the ones he's got with Tupac and stuff like that, and obviously his Dog Food production. But he's got production under his belt. His solo albums as well. The production he's done on that. And I think he can rap, man. We're talking about producers.
He's got some dope verses, man.
Yeah, man. I think he's got humor. He's got delivery. I didn't like how he spat on Got My Mind Made Up because the whole whispering thing I weren't feeling. Should never have started a track like that. But I think he can rap, man. He's got flow. And for him to stay, he's Corrupt. Mid-90s Corrupt was top tier. Do you know what I'm saying? Excellent lyricist. And I don't think Daz ever looked silly next to him. Do you know what I'm saying? If you listen to the projects they got together, he never looked silly next to him. So I think, got to mention Daz for his production and his bars, man. So who would you throw out for a underrated one?
Shit, man. I was going to say Daz as well. I guess the next one I'd say would be someone like Odyssey. Odyssey is dope, man. He reminds me of like a modern day Large Professor. As in like the consistency of his stuff. Like he makes very like soulful beats, but he sounds good as well when he raps. Like he's very good. And like if you haven't heard of Odyssey, man, I'd definitely say for you to go and check out his albums because he's very consistent. He does a lot of instrumental albums as well, but he does albums as well where he's rapping over his shit. I think he's down with J. Cole's crew, right? I think he's
I'm not sure, to be honest,
I think he does. Him, Omen. I'm pretty sure that they're quite close with J. Cole's crew. But yeah, man, everything I've heard for Odyssey has been I've enjoyed. Like he's another dude who puts soul into his music, but I don't know. Again, same as Quick, I don't know why he's not mentioned much and stuff like that. But he's very talented, very talented.
No, I agree.
So I don't know why he's underrated, but he definitely is. Maybe because he doesn't do much for outsiders. Like a lot of his stuff he does for himself. You know what I mean?
You don't see his name on many credits projects of his own.
Yeah. Maybe that's why. But he does what he does, and he's really good at it, man. So yeah, Odyssey will be my pick, bro.
Agreed. I'll throw out a couple more then, and then that's me done. I got to mention Beatnuts, man. Production, Beatnuts, hard. We know that their EPs, albums, stone crazy for me. I'll never forget the first time I heard "Do You Believe." I was literally sitting down, man, and it came on. Obviously, we knew of Beatnuts before that, but just they got heat before that as well. But when I heard "Do You Believe," there was just something about that beat and just them spitting on it, and I was just like, nah, man, Beatnuts are crazy. So yeah, definitely want to mention them for their production and their bars as well. Both of them, Beatnuts, and the other person I was going to mention was it's gone from me. Lord Finesse, definitely.
100%
production, man. Bars, classics under his belt. Yeah, man. That's who I'd throw out for my underrated mentions, man. So who you got before we close?
Who else would I say is an underrated? producer, stroke rapper. I don't know. There's no one I could think of that's I'd say is underrated. Like there's maybe there's a few people that folks haven't heard of, or shit like that. Like Focus, like he does a lot of stuff with Dre. But I don't know, how well known he is. But he's got some of his beats are just insane. Black Milk is another one.
Yeah. Good
Black
shout.
Milk. His drums, boy, they hit you in the chest. Like it feels like you smoked like a few cigarettes once you've listened to a Black Milk album. It's like, damn, like, that's punched me up.
Trust me, man.
His rapping like improved over the last few years and stuff like that. Really dope producer, good rapper, and underrated. So yeah, man, I think he definitely makes the list. I mean,
yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah, there's so much talent, man. Like for you to be able to make beats to a high level and rap over them, I don't think people appreciate how difficult that is.
Yeah, it's true, man.
It's two totally different skills that come together, and for you to be consistently good at it, that takes some doing.
No, I agree, man. Yeah, fully agree, man. I think good list, good names that we've thrown out today. Yeah, man. So shout to Two Drinks for that, for the idea. Enjoyed that. Like Slack said last time, any ideas, throw them out. If it's something we can run with, we'll be glad to, man. So yeah, man, producers who can rap, man. So yeah, that's where we came from. So Slack, anything before you close this off? As
always, man, just signing out, just saying thank you to everybody for checking us out, for rocking with us, supporting us. Big up, man. We'll always be thankful for that. And yeah, catch us next week for the next topic.
Definitely, man.
Well, signing out, man, from me, your boy Slack, and my co-host extraordinaire,
E Major. My love, man.
Yeah, man. So bless, man, and we'll catch you next week, guys.
Peace,
man.